Well, this have been 2 full days spread over 3 days, intensive days, I would say, and discussions continuing until the evening with the evening events. Super great to have you here. And on the last day, it's typically that you see a little bit less people in the room than the other days, but still quite crowded. So all who are here, thanks a lot. And I know we're having now the morning time in Europe. So having participants from US and the virtual side, this is super impressive that you make the effort to stand up that early in the middle of the night to join. On the other side, also on the first day where we just started in the afternoon, it was really nice to have so many Japanese participants. If you just count like 8 hours on top, 7 or 8 currently. Seven, right? We were lucky it's the 7 ones, but still 7 hours on top. There was far beyond midnight when they left our workshop, so that's really great. And constant numbers, like often during the lunchtime frame, we had 20 plus participants. So we know that we reached more than 50 people and had active engagement with 50 people.
And we have Japanese on right now too.
Yeah, I of course. I mean, it's still the most friendly Japanese time. So that's so
It's
mentioned.
already late in the evening, for working time.
At least for Joe.
Yeah.
So, but that's just something which I found super impressive, and we had beautiful weather outside, right? It was really good to be there. We enjoyed the rooftop yesterday. Can utilize the full Volvo facilities here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's
And
really lovely.
besides that, also like the ELISA members, because we make the efforts, we have the dinner paid by ELISA, we have a lot of engagement, and then also those presenting here, right? A bunch of them coming from ELISA members. We have additional presenters which are not allocated as a member and still also take the effort to come here, which is important for us because it's really an open event, right? These are members, but ELISA wants to welcome everybody for driving the safety with Linux forward, and also the adjacent communities, just like bringing open source and safety forward as an open hub, the central hub for collaboration. And therefore, I think it's just a little bit to just mention who are all in there and who help us to drive these models. Now you just like can get into what we have seen. I typically put them over the session recap in there, but these were the takeaways. We don't have the V anymore, and I really tried yesterday evening to figure out what a bad stem bar is. Maybe someone want to write bad standard. At least this was the proposal which Google gave me when I searched for it. So no search engine and new translator told me what stem bar is. Therefore, I just removed this, and those which were wrongly broken up, I put in. So you really see the statements which came in, like with typo here, which came from me, like compliance with digital twins, safety search, not just marketing. Good question, discussion from there. Amazing people, Volvo rocks. We have new communities to approach, good introduction, and what I see is like enthusiasm, inspiration. This was actually doubled also there. The hallway track with the fee car, then smart people. I think that's what I also have somewhere at the second time. The insightful discussion, and I think this really gives you the perspective on which we are operating in here. And it's just what I can second and what I normally hear as feedback from the people which approach me afterwards. And then, yeah, what really happened, we had the welcome introduction, ask me anything. I think this was also like giving us feedback. It's good to have this intro to pick up people, get everybody on board. Then had directly a breakout to another topic. They just left, but this was also something which I heard was very inspiring to see similarities, to see how processes are handled, what challenges are sometimes in there, and how different things can influence you. Like you suddenly think about sustainability and you cannot build your PCB anymore, and you can just take the analogy, like suddenly you have to do updates and you can't build your software as you want anymore. And these kind of things are affecting us, and we need to be creative. And just because something is melting with 100 degrees and you have to who says it was 200 degrees, it doesn't mean you don't find a solution for something, right? It's just maybe a different way. And that's something which you could see here. After we're at the topics on like how we engage with the communities, which was also good to discuss about various type of hardware, how system components come together. So thanks a lot to Lisa Carlson as well for the perspective from AGL and where Honda wants to drive things. I think that's a good approach for software-defined vehicles. And what I've got, the dinner was really, really good. Food, people, discussions, drinks. It was also good to wrap up first day. There. The safety Linux were the safety Linux part. I enjoyed this session a lot because it showed like I came up with some slides and I got so much feedback on, oh, you should say it like this. Oh, it's different and it's this way. Add this will add value if you add this statement. So we can see this brings a lot of room for another way of going forward and to prepare it for a wider audience. Like we have a very good room of experts here, and this now can form the base to also share it to a wider space to really make it public. Very interesting see like how the integrator perspective and the minimal kernel parts get together from Alessandro and Olivier. This was very nice, prepared, and also like how you managed to flip into the topics. I think it will give a beautiful blog post also later on, especially also for the minimal kernel parts. And this just were so well prepared also. I think it will make something great out of it. I didn't expect like for peaks for space, what efforts are taken and with the simulator, and then like also like how a drone connects to a CubeSat, right? And how autopilot's challenges are very similar because you have a space with just, and that you need propellers in space, right? This is like super cool. And the connections and like we had good intense discussion with the safety profile topic as well. Like say we came up with this, oh, you have such a full-blown thing. Do I need to do everything of it? And then it's clearing down and oh, that's the model, that's the idea. And you should have the tools, the capabilities of writing it down, but you don't have to. Just take the mandatories out. Have a lot of things as optional. These are things to really bring on. And then like the perspective from Volvo on the continuous deployment, which felt super well into the SPDX parts, which felt into the trustable, which we had today, which really shows like that the way where we have to move. And Igor, I didn't expect first that we had such an intense discussion on your part afterwards, but I think where you brought up a different level of complexity and just said like, okay, you can go and different levels, you can maybe do good safety analysis where the complexity is lower or like middle size, but if you have higher complexity, how a subsystem or some part that can just easily grow, and this is like equivalent to any kind of software you write, right? It's not limited to the kernel, and it's sometimes better to go for another solution and try something which is similar, but which you have on a better control, and then it may be, even if it's not the most safe, not the most secure thing, it could be better to go to the lower level and just have it secure enough for you what you need. And this will also trigger the discussion with other people because they may come and say, but I'm coming from this perspective and I really want this one because I love this part of it. And it may not fit the need, which you later on have in the whole system infrastructure. And this is something which was nice to see. And following afterwards, we had the latest status of Basel, see really how this evolves, how it interacts with SPDX. So you see the connection of the communities. Again, you can see the interaction with kernel CI and also kernel CI evolves, that you can combine testing. I felt like there were some contradictions sometimes with what Trustful would say in the direct way. It's of course a lot of arguments, but you could see a lot of things were taken from the cloud directly, where Trustful would say, oh, take it and have control about it. But seeing that you can just enter URLs, grab test results from somewhere else, it helps you to create a lot of data, a lot of argumentation, and it's just your way to bring it forward. And there's similar with like what you will need also when you come to testing, how to move on to the requirements testability, discussing like how we have SPDX identifier in the kernel. And my super great takeaway of this one, which I mean, I was following your activities and participate in meetings, and I knew the concept. What was for me was a takeaway. You took the first function, or first 4 or 5 function, you found a bug, you could simplify something, and just by documenting properly and going into the code, and we will find a lot of these things. This will enable others to rewrite parts, to get them on board and to get them understanding, and it will help us also to get this into the community, because it's not for safety only, it's for a sustainable, robust development which is going on. This is what they do. Summary. Today we're at the trustable part, and maybe you all were here in the room for this part, or virtual participating. What I really like was the combination, so we can also see it in practice where Daniel presented some part of the protocol thing and showing like it's actually not that complicated and it fits well, and also how just Rust brings you an argument already for things that you do not even have to do something anymore. And I mean, that's also the idea of trustable. If you do a proper development and you have this kind of control and you are a professional in developing a software product, you bring already a lot of base for trustable, and it can help you to approach a standard more from, I do not read the standard, follow one by one, but I concentrate on what's necessary, what's important, and then based on this, I may get the link back. So I hope we will see the traceability, assertions we have, and where it goes to which part of the IC. So it was really cool, and yeah, we had a short discussion about Rust, so I hope some people were picked up, and we know it's in the kernel, so we know it's also has implication for the work ELISA does, and it fits to yesterday or to the requirements part. Maybe someone wants to use the requirements and rewrite certain part of the kernel in Rust later on, right? So we don't know, we'll see, and then engage with the young next generation of engineers to have them doing something else. Yeah, best practice, I will not spend too many words, but the idea was to do some brainstorming to pick you up on what we planned, and it helped out. We have new standards names, we have identification for publications, we have open source project mentioned, and this is just like we can take this input, go forward, and bring it up to you. And here we are at the workshop wrap-up. We've seen all the parts, and I would add some organizational notes. It's not like the antitrust thing on the first day. It's basically, we have recordings available in a week or two. We need to prepare them. And Min is always super supportive and great. I don't know how and when she makes it, but suddenly it appears. And with all the recordings published, it's just like, oh, you can find it now on YouTube. Along with this, there will be a blog post. And I already got some response from Robert and Tom and Carla, who said they were willing to write something down.
Good.
Yeah,
Okay. Anyone who wants to write something down, we very much welcome it.
definitely, yeah.
Just mail us.
And therefore, I make this little part here. Testimonials welcome for quotes. So if you would say, like, I would just like a short statement on what I enjoyed or where I went through. If it was the first workshop and you just saw like this came out of it, you're very happy to bring this just in, because this is like the best thing we can have is getting the response. You can even leave this in the survey.
Yeah,
So it comes
even in the survey, tell us
Yeah.
how we can quote
Or
it,
just-
we won't bug you again.
Just drop a message. It's info@elisa.tech. You can just drop a mail there if you miss my mail. Drop me a message on LinkedIn, whatever. Like, so feel free. What the best way for you to approach? Just drop it with me. We will shortly clarify that you're good with this, and that their presentation themselves. There should be a pull request coming. We need to polish here and there, collecting the slides. Like feedback from last workshop was collect the slides upfront, but I know how the situation is and that many are super busy, and the last polishing sometimes just happens. Like I'm pretty sure some modification have been done last evening for today. So that's just normal, and therefore we need to collect the things. The good thing is that we have the mail address of all speakers, and we can annoy them to submit something, and a lot of just coming proactively and already send it.
When she sends you a follow-up.
Yeah, exactly. And Min will follow up on this because she's doing it really great. That's where you see the results. And we always have post-event survey. So can we put the clicker? Do I have the link? I'll put it in chat. Let me just see.
Yeah, I'll put it in chat. You
You
do
put it
that.
in chat.
I'll put it
I
in
mean, I
chat.
have the time, because if you just come
Yeah.
and just shortly open the.
You will send out the link afterwards.
We will, but if, you may as well just do it now. It's short questions, and then your conscience is clear when we bug you. It's not happening anymore.
And
Sorry.
And it could be quite good to do somehow because we asked like for what was your favorite session, the least favorite session, or so I would say like
Yeah.
a little bit like this. We're not telling later to the people which was the best. Oh, I don't know, sometimes do. We'll give a summary also sometimes in TSC meetings to just say like what were the outcomes of the survey.
Yeah, like this format of workshop has evolved because of the feedback we've gotten. And so if you find this format useful, tell us that too. If you have like suggestions on how we can improve it further, that really helps us as well.
Yeah.
Because that, well, we try to incorporate that very explicitly. You know,
One thing which is very hard, where we continuously try, so I found it a bit sad that we had a microphone issue this morning again, because I had the impression we did very well on the first 2 days. That's a really hard thing, right? The virtual participation, that's where we try to continuously improve. I actually bought an external microphone on top, which we maybe try next time as addition. But I heard like the O was also good on the first 2 days. These were feedbacks you can give. If you figure out, one feedback was also that's how much appreciation we show to the people, so that this is important. So you can really any kind of feedback there. And we will take it seriously. It's not that we can solve everything, but virtual participation will never be as good as sitting in the room. That's just, I'm happy that we were able to keep better on time,
Yeah.
not fully, but I mean, we had past workshop where we were running out of almost an hour because of the intense discussion, and this helped a lot.
And thank you to Volvo for the good connectivity. It really
Oh,
helps.
really? Yeah.
Makes it possible to get the virtuals working with us here online as well.
Yeah. Also, the logistics were well organized, and it was easy to enter, and all these kind of things.
Yeah.
So that's some learnings which we had. And typically, we come also up with like, when will be the next workshop? We have 2 a year, but we haven't settled really on the month or a place or a host yet. It's where it will happen. I know there is the request of having another space workshop, so space grade Linux workshop. We need to see if it's really like.
There's something that might happen in Korea at the end of October for space grade,
Yeah,
and we may have a more general Linux one, ELISA one.
yeah,
sometime in
so
North America.
that's what I would say.
So we're still, and if people have suggestions and ideas on who to pair with, how to host them, we're always interested in that too.
There's the Send Summit in September in San Jose. Maybe it makes sense to
Yes.
have something.
The
on
Zen
the-
Summit?
Yeah,
So that's,
along with
that's
that.
a good note. Write it down. Catch the word. But yeah.
And the other thing, I mean, if you don't want to wait for the next workshop, there is the automotive grade Linux all member meeting in Berlin on the 10th of July. And it's a good chance to also engage in the automotive space with the SDV expert group, reference example, Osashimi,
Yeah.
The best thing.
the best.
If you want to submit a talk, you have still today to submit something
Okay,
by email.
The deadline was like a week and a half, it was like last Saturday.
Let's say, send something to wminor@linuxfoundation.org.
uh-huh.
Well, I already submitted mine, I was good.
So Walt may still.
And the
Take
back
some
door.
Yeah, that's a backdoor. Otherwise, the slots are pretty full right now, but I think 1 or 2 might still fit.
Yeah, and it's also sometimes that someone drops or so.
Yeah.
Or some last minute changes which can happen, or just opening up something. Like we had, we prepared the agenda and we also had like 2 slot adjustments.
There's also always something.
But that's just like a chance to let the story continue and also engage with our automotive people. That was, I think, worth to mention. And by this, we would conclude. And I know we had different people coming, like by bicycle, walking, car, train, flight. I missed most likely something. Rollerblades, I don't know. Boats, rollerblades. Anyways,
Very.
thank you so much for the virtual participation. Staying it. I know it's very also hard to follow these parts. Thank you for being here all in person. Has been a great event, it was super fun and super exciting, interesting. I took a lot of things out of it and I will promote the message forward.
And thank you to Philip for hosting so well today.
Like this, I guess I say the last time we can stop the recording. And floor is open for any discussion. I think we had